Today, brands are everywhere. Clothes, bags, shoes, they're on practically everything we buy. Brand association is so powerful that countries, cities, and even people are branding themselves. Dubai is a prime example. So is Ali's Saloon, or Ask Ali, as he's branded. You might know Ali from his trademark brown kandura, smiling coffee mugs, television show, or his company website. Ali is now instantly recognizable as the man to ask when you want to know something about Emirati culture. Ali has made it his mission to bring Emirati culture to the world. He runs tours, gives workshops, and is about to publish a new guidebook to Dubai. You could say he's the face of a nation. This is your family farm?
Absolutely.
And what does this farm have to do with Ask Ali, with the Ask Ali brand?
Well, I think it's where all the meditation sometimes come from, and the relaxation, and looking back into the history of how the family was coming together from all over the place, and it just it kind of brings me back to the first-hand experience and knowledge that I was raised with. Is that this is the dates and here's the animals and so on.
How do you bring that into Ask Ali?
Well, the thing is, I kept on, my passion to animals and trees and farming is there within me as a person. But it contributes because the knowledge that I have and the passion that I have is really coming from being at the farm, and how it's hot in the summer, but then there's the beauty of the nature around you that kind of brings back the origin of the Ask Ali brand, which is giving you things that has to do with local knowledge, first-hand experience, and all of that comes together within the farm itself.
So what services does Ask Ali provide?
Well, Ask Ali is an online portal that answers people questions for free, but on the other hand, it basically provides the culture awareness workshops, the Ask Ali live sessions. On the other hand is the, being an author, I started writing about my country, and so that's producing guides about each emirate in the country, and we're, expanding into the whole Gulf region. On the other hand is the special VIP tours that is conducted by myself in the country.
And who are some of the most important VIPs you've given tours to?
Well, the name that I always feel proud of taking him around is Antonio Banderas, the great actor. We were at the Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque in Abu Dhabi, and it was really, really a special experience. Other than that, it's majorly all prime ministers, presidents, some of the great officials of each, the countries, the guests that comes to the government. So it really ranges between different type of groups.
Of course, Ask Ali isn't the UAE's only recognized brand. Branding goes back years with old established names like Etisalat and Dubai Duty Free. However, personal branding in the region is relatively new. But as a child, Ali certainly wasn't thinking about being a brand. Between the ages of 9 and 17, Ali and his father traveled all over the world. And from this came an idea for a possible career.
I always had a dream of becoming an Air Force pilot one day, like when I was young. To fly an airplane, basically, but, military thing is...
And then what happened with that dream?
During that time in the latest 90s, when I was just about to graduate from high school, my mom just from nowhere just decided you're not gonna do what you really want to do, which is to become an Air Force pilot.
Ali's father came up with another suggestion.
He said, why don't you join hospitality? To me, it was like he's telling me, why don't I want to be in hospitals? So I said to him, I hate doctors and I hate to wear the white robes. It's not really my thing, so just it's not an option at all. He's like, son, calm down. This has nothing to do with hospitals. Hospitality means, fandaqa wa siyaha, which is in English is like travel and tourism. It was so new, I felt like, why would I study hospitality? I'm an Arab. By default, I'm hospitable. I don't need to learn it.
And at the time, did you ever expect that you would have your Ask Ali brand?
I always like to have an answer for something. I don't like to say that I don't know. So it's the research thing in me when I was young. Every time I will search for something just so I can have more knowledge about something. So it existed in me as a talent, but not the Ask Ali itself until recent, of course.
Following his father's advice, Ali went to study hospitality in Florida.
So what did you get out of the Florida experience?
I think the blessing thing is that Orlando is very famous in Florida with having the Magic Kingdom and Universal Studio and Disney. So to study and work at the same time at these places or gain that first-hand experience is just it's a great opportunity. So and at the same time observing it from a citizen point of view, how could a citizen in that in one nation to see all of those visitors come to the country and how do you behave with it? So it was a very, very interesting to observe that.
And did the Ask Ali brand start there?
Well, yeah, I guess how all of the students, whenever there's a question about the Arab world during my hospitality, studying, they would just they will just look and say, hey, let's ask Ali about anything that has to do about the Arab world.
Coming up, we meet some of the other people in Dubai behind successful brands, and I'll be asking Ali to brand myself. Later, we'll meet some of the other successful brands, and Ali will be giving me some tips on how to create a brand for myself. But first, we catch up with Ali as he comes back to the UAE from his studies in Florida.
My father picked me up from the airport and he said to me, are you ready for your first job? I was like, absolutely. But everything in my mind was telling me that he's going to show me like a government entity or organization that has to do with tourism and I'm going to have a nice, management kind of job. But it was different experience at all. He kind of, drove me all the way to the city. And we were actually parking just by the villa area of the hotel, and he pointed at the doorman of the concierge section of the hotel, and he said, "There goes your first job." I started from in the concierge area, and then moved up slowly. Climbing that ladder in the hotel chain until I became a receptionist, and then I became the front office assistant manager. And all of that happened in this hotel, the Beach Rotana Hotel. It's a priceless experience, no matter what. It's just one of the best things that happened to me after I graduated because it gave me so much appreciation to every single, job and division that you can be enrolled in a hotel industry.
After his hotel work, Ali got a master's in culture and branding in Canada and came back to take a job in the Government Tourist Board. While working here, he went to a conference in Barcelona, met Reg Atwell, and his professional life took a sudden turn.
I was a guest speaker, and at the end of the speech, people were lining up and asking me questions, and patiently at the end of the line was Ali, and in his dish-dash and kandura, quietly waiting for his time until everyone would go, and then we had a one-to-one exchange.
But what drove me to go to him is the desire in wanting something more, and all I wanted is just to get in touch.
But one of the areas that I mentioned in the speech that had an impact on him was this concept of a dream book. A dream book is a bit like a photo album, but once we're clear on what we want in the future, the idea is to get images to represent those things in the future and put it in a book.
The idea existed, the domain name existed, so I had all of that, but it was, again, it's the real call to action, is that, when are you going to do it? When are you going to type all the information and put it online? And it was a week after, and then bang, I launched it.
Ali and Reg's meeting was the first practical step in the creation of the brand Ask Ali. But why is creating a brand so important? I asked Tariq Muknas of the leading UAE advertising agency, Lowy Mina.
Branding is important because it forces us to keep moving forward. It forces us to keep developing our products. It forces us to keep developing our services. So if you didn't have a brand and you didn't have an association for a person, a consumer to relate to, then you would have no reason to better yourself. The key attributes for a great brand are, number one, that it's honest, it's true to itself, it's consistent, it always acts and delivers on the same promise. Dubai is an example of a good brand because it's done everything right. What they have done to get themselves and to get the word out there is they've done things with superlatives, lots of superlatives. You have the biggest building in the world, the greatest aquarium tank in the planet, the biggest, the wildest, the fastest, all of these superlatives make news. And that's the way of telling the world about your brand.
Dubai has essentially been at the forefront of branding. Other successful sub-brands that have essentially come from that Dubai brand are the Emirates Airlines, are the Airmons. One particular one that comes to mind is also Jumeirah and the Jumeirah Group. Brands here in their inception, in the beginning, are perceived global, meaning that we come up with a brand here, not simply for the local market, but with a perception of how it will be able to compete in the global environment.
Du Telecommunication has one of the most successful launches of any Emirati product. Hala Badri explains why.
I think our brand represents innovation, it represents value, it represents choice. We are a young Emirati company with a lot of dynamism, and we basically represent progression. Our support for example, young emerging talents or entrepreneurs such as Mohammed Saeed Harib, the creator of Reach, the 3D animation, for example, that had been a very successful venture that we entered into. The reason I'm saying this is that the supporting the animation industry, it was a niche market, but it created competition across UAE talents, and it created new platforms for the UAE nationals to venture.
Like Du, Ask Ali has created a really successful brand, but I wanted to know if he could do the same thing for me.
See, I'm thinking more of the dark blue.
A darker blue.
Yeah, and the light blue. Can I see this dark blue one? Can I see that brown, please?
So what's the final decision? Brown and blue?
Well, let me just get the blue and put it here, and then we'll go from it, right?
This is the one? The royal blue?
This is the lucky one.
Next, it was off for the photos.
So, what do you think?
Very interesting, really.
I'm sensing a little hesitation.
I like this. I think it has a very humble way into it. It comes across you're very approachable, confident, and smooth. Very smooth smile, which is really, really nice. The only thing is, whenever you cross your hands together, I think it become really overused. Many anchors. Even I did it, for example, when I started my show. So everybody tried to do it, put their hands together to look like cool. That one is like, it's really interesting. This is the one.
This is the one?
This is the one. It has a lot in it. Blue Kandura and the white Gutra. I think this is it.
Coming up, we'll find out what Ali loves so much about Dubai, and we'll follow him to the launch of his brand new guidebook. Later, we go with Ali to the launch of his brand new guide. But first, we meet the El Awadi brothers, who branded the Middle East's most popular sandwich. They're the brains behind Wild Pita, a fusion shawarma outlet in Dubai.
So why brand your store? What does it actually give you?
Well, without a brand, you're just another product. And we looked around the world and we saw that there was no shawarma brand anywhere in the world. And we said, why not have the first shawarma brand that is Emirati?
I like the fusion they make with the shawarmas, and you never find any restaurant that has good atmosphere and good food together.
And what makes it Emirati?
We did grow up with this. It's a product that we've come to love over the years, and it's something that we wanted to give a local touch to, an Emirati touch to, and then export outside of the UAE.
So how did you choose the colors, the music, the images, the whole design concept?
A brand is multidimensional, so what you see around you are images, so a lot of art that we use to shape our brand. When you come into Wapita, or if you listen to us on the internet, you'll see that we broadcast music, specific music.
Now it's time for Chef Omar to work his magic.
First, I like it spicy.
Please don't try this at home.
No to carrots. This will be a unique flavor experience. You'll never eaten something like this before. I think that's enough.
Yup, this sandwich is ready to go.
I'm gonna call it Omar's Monster. Do you have the hospital on standby?
You have insurance, right?
It's actually really good. No, seriously. Try it. It's really good. Here, I haven't touched this one yet.
We'll take your word for it.
You have to try it. It's really good. You have to put this on your menu now. Seriously. I'm not joking. I mean, again.
My marvelous sandwich may not have inspired the brothers, but the UAE certainly inspires Ali. So in his spare time, you'll find him getting to know his country better. Ali drove me to some of his favorite places in Dubai, past Burj Al Arab and on to Union House.
The first, 6 Emirate leaders to come together before, Ras Al Khaimah joined the year 1972. The first picture was taken at this place, and it gives me goosebumps every time I come to talk about it. And it's amazing because it's coming in an area that back in the days, it was almost empty. There was not much happening in this area.
Then we drove on to explore more of Jumeirah.
You can find everything in Jumeirah. There is the water activities, the beaches there, the great cafes and coffee shops are also available, at any certain point. There is local food and there is international cuisine. So if you're a tourist and you're coming here for the first time, this would be an amazing place to bring you.
Finally, we stopped to view one of Ali's most inspiring places, the Jumeirah Mosque.
Well, if you ask me, Dubai itself is a beautiful city in all aspects. And since our own culture is influenced by our own faith, Islam, this would be a great place for the great programs that they have at Jumeirah Mosque to bring the tourists to. First of all, it has a very touristic, style into the whole area of Jumeirah, and yet the most significant, most beautiful mosques in Dubai would definitely be on the Jumeirah Road, and we're standing here by the Jumeirah Mosque.
The UAE scenery is the inspiration for Ali, but what would inspire better branding in the region?
The UAE market has reached a maturity level now that I think that we will have some of the strongest brand identities in the world. We'll be competing with everybody.
I think it's time for the Middle East to start creating their own brands and exporting it to other countries, and that's what we're all about.
I'm a firm believer that if that focus on branding is there and knowledge, awareness on branding is there, then sooner or later we will have some successful brands.
Certainly Ask Ali is proving more than a success as a brand. And today he's pushing his brand even further with the launch of a major new guide. It's the Ask Ali Guide to Dubai.
As an Emirati, I understand why, and I accept it. And I appreciate that there's other people from around the world writing about my own country. But it's about time that we can now say that we have the first UAE national, to write something about his country and to put it together in a book.
I think it's like the first part.
How do I spell that? G.
Even Ali couldn't have expected this kind of turnout. The number of people here today proves he's the new go-to guy for cultural communication. Brand Ali is on solid ground and rising. I wonder what he'll do next.